Alright guys, it's time to talk about FET on the channel, or it's Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, and I'm not going to say that, so I'll either call it FET or Fetch.ai, which it formerly used to be. Now, we last did a video back here, guys, on May the 21st. It actually closed a little bit above 80 cents. Didn't get through this resistance here, unfortunately, but it later did and pushed up basically to the top of this Fibonacci, but since then it has failed. So we can see that there is some resistance here probably, but we find ourselves down here at 63.6 cents. We are pushing up on this resistance once again, so we do need to break this on a weekly time frame. Now, if we can break this tonight, that would be a good sign, because the weekly candle does close tonight. Let's look at the weekly candle. We can see it got a nice bounce right off the bottom of this Fibonacci here, or we can say the top of the Fibonacci down here, and it's gotten a good bounce. So let's see if it can push through that tonight. That would be actually a good sign. The next resistance would be up here at about 68.6 cents, and then it's got to try to break through this Fibonacci level at about, let's just say, 73 cents. A couple more things I want to show you here. First, we got to look at this in the full chart. Now, I don't know if this is the full chart actually, but on Binance, it goes back to about 2019. So probably it is. Now, we can see that it is basically just baby stepping its way up some stairs. Now, you do see higher lows along the way. So this is the next higher low here. So that's a good thing. Now, I do want to zoom in here. I just noticed right when I cut the camera in that first clip, there was an M pattern basically here. And this candle has just avoided breaking down from the M pattern. Now, if it were to break down from that M pattern, which I hope it doesn't, it would go down to about, let's see, down here at about 32 cents. That would be the target. Now, I don't think that's going to actually happen, at least not today. You know, you never know. Maybe it could have another weekly candle down next week and it breaks this M, but that would be the target. Now, it's a little bit hard to get the entire volume history here on the screen, but it doesn't really matter too much. We are sitting right here. I know it's very hard to see, but we are still way above the point of control. The point of control basically is at 8 cents, so we're well beyond that point. We are about in the middle of this, the fifth largest candle, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, this is like the fifth largest candle right here. And we're trying to push through that right now. Once we get above about, let's just say 75 cents. I'll just round it up really. If we can get above about 75 cents, we just need to clear this candle right here. And that would take place, let's just round it up to 90 cents. And then there's really no more volume on the way up. I mean, it's just very little volume. You do have kind of a little bit of a speed bump right here, but that's it. That's not much volume. Now, jumping over and taking a look at the Bollinger Bands, on a monthly time frame, it is fairly wide, so there really isn't anything to look at there. Now, the weekly time frame, let's zoom in here. This is actually pretty narrow, so it's not really pinching, but maybe we're seeing some of this push here just because these Bollinger Bands are getting very, very narrow. I mean, if you go back in the history on the weekly time frame here, it's fairly wide. We don't really see anything so narrow until about, October of 23. That's the last time when we saw such narrowness, and it was actually a little bit more narrow back then, but this is very narrow. And I would like to see these two lines just come in, these blue lines come in and pinch each other, and I think we would get a mega run. Now, if we look at this on a daily time frame, pretty much nothing going on. It looks like an intestine, basically. So yeah, the weekly time frame, in my opinion, is getting a little bit interesting, though, on the Bollinger Bands. Looking at the RSI and stochastic here, the monthly time frame looks pretty good, but the blue line has just crossed the red line, it looks like, to the downside, but it is very oversold, so this is a good sign still. The RSI a little bit flat for several months here, but still right in neutral territory, so not too bad. Now, the weekly time frame, unfortunately, this is headed down, but it is in neutral territory. It could easily come up at any point, especially if those Bollinger Bands are pinching. Now, the RSI is slightly pointed upwards here, so kind of mixed signal really, but we're still in good territory on both. Now, the daily time frame coming up pretty heavily on both. That's a good sign. So, Monthly and daily look the best so far, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the longer term time frames, look good. Now the 4-hour time frame getting a little bit overheated. This blue line is just about to cross this red line and probably start to head back down. RSI still headed up pretty heavily though, so kind of a mixed signal. Now the 1-hour time frame getting overheated on the stochastic here and also the RSI, so not good again. 15-minute time frame overheated on both. So guys, really in the short term, I think it's going to cool off. Let me zoom out and maybe it makes it through this 63.6 mark, but I don't see it shooting up to the 68.6 mark, and definitely not clearing that without any news or without Ethereum, going on a mega run. We basically just need to see something like we saw in October where we had a big alt season. But yeah, I just think it has to cool down basically. If we put this on a 4-hour time frame, I know that's the 15-minute, for the last, 5 4-hour candles, it's only been up, and this is the 6th candle it's working on. There's still about 2 hours left on this candle, but hey, if it clears it, great. I would like to see it clear it, on a weekly time frame, and even if we come back down tomorrow, we can retest it. We can reset some of those RSIs and stochastics and whatever, and then start making that move up to 68.6. Now, FET is actually a mix of several projects in the past: Ocean Protocol, SingularityNet, and Fetch.ai, which I will still call it till I die probably, because this is just way too difficult to say all the time. But this is still the number 85 project. That is not bad. I'm actually surprised it's still number 85, honestly. Now, you can see my holdings here. I'm not sure if my average net cost is really 50 cents. I think it's lower. Anyways, doesn't really matter. The max supply is this very odd number, but 2.7 billion is not that much, and almost all of this is circulating. That's pretty much what you want to see, guys. Now, all-time high, again, over a year ago, $3.45. We're 81% down. Now, here's the tricky part. Will it go back to its all-time high? It's possible, just because I think AI is still going to be a big sector here in this bull run. This could be an exception, honestly. So do I see $3.45 in the cards? Probably so. Maybe it gets up to maybe $4 or $5 this run. But unless AI gets super hot, this one might make it to, 8 to 10 bucks, maybe even 12 bucks. But I think it's going to go a little bit higher than its all-time high right now. I'm just not seeing that AI hype craze so much right now, but maybe it will come. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is actually going up at 111,230 at the moment. Now, here's the thing, guys. We do have a CME gap still from the previous week. And if we open up, tomorrow, the CME, we have, if it stays at the moment like it is right now, we're going to have about a $600 or $700 gap again to the upside. So we're going to have two gaps basically, and they need to be filled. I think I heard some statistic like a couple of weeks ago, guys, and it was like 99.6% of these gaps get filled. Now, before I go a little farther in this video, guys, you can claim some bonuses on my favorite crypto exchanges below. I have partnerships with 10 exchanges here. Check them out. We also have Moodix here. You can get a free 7-day trial, and you can follow me on X here. Ethereum, on the other hand, is actually pushing up against this line at about $4,300. So we need it to close above it. Now, of course, I always tell people my lines are not 100% perfect. They never will be. Any influencer that claims to have perfect lines, they're lying. So let's see if this can close above, this line tonight. And that would be a good sign that this is good support here. You can also see it did test these daily supports down here and got, a pretty good little bounce. But yeah, we do need to hold this $4,300, mark here. Looking at the total market cap here, we do have a green candle. We are trying to get above 3.8 trillion. Not sure it's going to happen, but again, we still have about 10 hours to go, but it is a Sunday, guys. So let's see. In the past, we saw a lot of trading on Sunday, sometimes right before the close of Sunday. A lot of people were front running the market, so maybe that will happen again. Never know. But right now, just doesn't really look like it, in my opinion. Now, if we look at the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, We are making our way back up again. We are well within this flag. And if we break out to the upside, the target is up here at $1.75 trillion. So that would start to give us new highs. Basically, it would get us above 1.62 trillion, which is a weekly resistance. We still have this monthly resistance here at 1.71 trillion as well. Now, my beloved Bitcoin dominance chart here, we can see, let's zoom in. We are slightly below 58.61%. Again, these lines are not 100% perfect, but if we can hold this line here, that would be a good thing. Now, of course, we did retest it last week. It failed. This week it retested again. Maybe it broke this line here at 58.12%. But guys, again, we had 3 weeks where it just went down so much. So of course it's going to bounce. Look, it had a couple of weeks bounce right here. So, and before that there was 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of downside. Here we just had 3 weeks of downside. So again, it's going to bounce, but eventually we are going to make our way down to about 40 to 48% on the Bitcoin dominance. That's going to mean thousands and thousands of dollars for most people. Now, our lovely USDT dominance chart, people are starting to put money back in today. You can see already it is heading down. Now, if we put this on a weekly time frame, this week people started to put their money back in. So we had 3 weeks of upside. Unfortunately, we broke this trend line. We also went back above 4.31%, but maybe this is the start of some downside here. I hope so. We do need to break 4.31% and then start making our way down to 3.8%. If you take a look at my Twitter, I did post this morning, we had a 65 on the altcoin season index, so that has cooled just slightly today. Now, the liquidation heat map, only $128 million, has been wrecked in the last 24 hours. But I guarantee you this week is going to be very volatile, so be ready. Now, the crypto fear and greed index here, we have a 44. We have 10 hours again till the next update, so we are back in fear. Yesterday we were neutral, but people are starting to get a little bit worried now. Again, guys, we still have 0 indicators hit from the bull market peak indicators. Sell at the top. It's still 100% hold here. And I think, if we look at the closest indicator, I don't think it's above 90%. This is 89.04. That's the Bitcoin dominance. We know it says it's sitting at 57.87%, but that does differ a little from my chart. Now, if we go down, I think that is the closest. We have 87% here, and here's like 82%. So nothing is even in the 90%. So until we start getting hits, guys, I don't think we need to worry. I'm not worried. I'm not selling anything, at least, from my bags that I'm holding. I do sell, like I said yesterday, I did sell a little bit. It was just some of my extra crypto, basically what I've been staking, because, guys, I need to take some money sometimes. Anyways, let's move on, guys. This week we do have PPI, we have CPI, and we have Michigan numbers. That's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so be ready. That's why I said there's going to be a lot of volatility this week. Now, Moodyx is actually showing risk-on sentiment. That trend is still growing despite the horrible day on Friday. So the week was still positive. The month, it just started really. It's positive. The year is still positive. That's all good to see. Now, if we go to FedWatch Tools, there's still an 11% chance that we are going to get a half-point cut. So let's see what comes when that time comes. Now, remember, the next FOMC meeting is not this week coming, but it's next week in about 10 days. Today is looking pretty good on crypto bubbles. Pretty much almost everything is in the green, and it's pretty much green across the board, so that's really nice to see, actually. And if you go to Coinondo, guys, you can't really still search on the search bar. I did email Coinondo and tell them about this problem, but nobody reached out to me. But you can go to coins here and then go to staking, and they do have a bigger list than what I saw before, because before it was only about 100 coins. But again, they start to skip numbers when you get down to these lower numbers here, and you pretty much have to know where your coin ranks to find it. So, for example, you have 598 and then 601, 606. So that's not really in order, guys. They're skipping some. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate your support. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with your friends. Check out some of those deals that I have below in the description. Of course, I do get commission, but it's pennies, guys, really pennies. Anyways, I thank you so much. And guys, I will see you in the next one.